Hello, friends, and welcome back to Hospitality Bites. I'm your host, hospitality hustler, mompreneur, and the heart behind Hospitality Bites Media. We are back kicking off the second season of Hospitality Bites with a very familiar face. Today's guest joined me several months ago, actually over 2 years ago, because I was huge with my baby, where he had me laughing through tears, commiserating over the unchecked hospitality scene, gushing over our love for being parents and the authentic Celtic pub cuisine, as well as even having me hold my breath, which probably was not the best idea at that time.
There you go.
He has been nonstop ever since, judging culinary competitions from coast to coast, such as the World Food Championships, demoing at every possible F&B conference, consulting, and creating some incredible content as I can't believe I'm going to say this, the meat man alongside the creative crew at Yum Crunch. Welcome back to the show, Chef Brian Duffy.
Wow. I'm very impressed that you got all of that in like a 30-second intro. So, good morning. Hi, everybody.
Good morning. Yeah, well, I'm practicing. I've had a lot to do, a lot of shows to record.
Well, yeah, that's true. Nice. Well, it's good to see you again. Glad we can chat.
It's so good to see you. Welcome back to the East Coast. I know you were just on the other side of the country. How was that?
It was good. I was in Austin for a couple of days. I had 4 days in Austin, and then I flew to Seattle, where I had Austin was for clients. So we went down there and cooked for a whole bunch of people. We did 8 action stations at an event that they were putting on for winning. They're like one of the biggest purchasers of certified Angus beef in the world. So we did a big event for those guys with a CAB dinner. And then I flew to Seattle, where I did the Crave Northwest event in Linwood, Washington, which was awesome, where we got to put together a whole bunch of food. I did a smoked duck cheesesteak with like malt vinegar, caramelized onions, and wild mushrooms, sharp provolone, a whole bunch of cool stuff, and a cherry pepper aioli. So that's what we served out there, which thank you to the Crave team, because they had all my food prepped and ready for me when I got there. So all I had to do was heat and go, which was super cool. Yeah. And then I flew home yesterday morning, and then I'm home for a couple days to work. And then I go to Sedona, Arizona, and then I go to Vancouver, and then I go to Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's all in the next couple of weeks. Literally, like in 2 weeks. I leave the 13th. Today's the 28th. I leave the 13th for Portugal. So
that's quite a life, quite a travel life.
It's craziness sometimes. Like when my buddy Nick Liberato, who you should have on as well. He's a great guest. I got a bunch of people you should have on. Nicky Libs is pretty funny. He and I are just consummate travelers together. We have so much fun when we travel, and I met him out in Vancouver, in Seattle. We did our event, then we all go out. We had a crazy night, go in this little dive bar called The Getaway. And then he and I Ubered into Seattle the next morning, and we just explored. We got tattoos, went through Pike's Market, went through all that, got a whole bunch of just great food, eating Dungeness crab on the side of the street and clam chowder like it was a date with 2 spoons. We definitely had some fun together. Got some great meals. We travel really well together and have a lot of fun. It's a lot of exploration. So, yeah.
Well, I know that you love good side of the road food. Like that's your thing. You always try to find the best good side of the road food. Totally.
And it's funny. I was driving when I was leaving the Austin airport to go to the hotel on Monday morning, I guess it was. I immediately, like, my kind of nose and ears and eyes perk up, and I was looking for the road vendor that I spent 30 minutes trying to get back to, because he was grilling corn over live fire. And I spent 30 minutes, no kidding, like, okay, if I get off of this exit and I make this right-hand turn, I should be able to come up behind him and hop in here. And it took me 30 minutes and I kept going around and missing where he was until I finally found him, and I had some really good elote that was done over live fire. I was very happy.
I love elote. My real first elote experience was actually in Chicago. My Aunt Mary told me about where to go. They grew up in the South Side. You got to go south to the South Side.
Yeah.
And that's where I found some really good elote.
My first ever, and I hate to do this to people because people always have cool stories and it's such a memory. Like, food is such a massive memory for all of us on so many levels, especially in my household. I mean, it looks a massive part of our businesses with what we do stuff, but there's always like cool memories. My first ever elote experience was I was in Tijuana. And I was a partner in a restaurant down there, and we had a guy who used to pick us up, and I was in San Diego. The guy comes up and picks me up. His name was Victor, and I'm talking to Victor in my broken Spanish and his horrible broken English, back and forth to each other. And I was just like, I have to go to church. So, because it was Ash Wednesday. So
Okay.
he drove me to his neighborhood church in his like community where he lived. And as we were walking down the street, I'm seeing this guy on the side of the road and he's making elote. So now the only thing that I can think of while I'm going to church, by the way, let's establish one thing real fast. Like, I go to church on Christmas and Easter. You know, like
Okay.
it's. Have you ever heard of C&E Catholics and Pace
Yes.
Catholics? Okay, so I'm more of like a C&E Catholic at this point, at least in my mother's eyes, who still thinks I'm a heathen and that I'm going to go to hell because I don't go to church every week. I love you, Mom. So I go in, I go to mass, and as I walk in this church, I realize that I am the tallest person in this building, because
Isn't
they
that
were
that cool?
all old Mexican
Oh yeah.
families that were walking, and they were all. I was like a giant amongst all of these. There had to be 500 people in this church, and I'm
Well, Ash
walking
Wednesday's
up.
huge.
It was a big church. It was a big church, and I was a big dude walking through. It was very funny. But I walk up and I get up to the front, and the priest could basically see like the pride that I had from being the tallest human being, and he kind of like gave me a nod, like, "I got you, dude. I got you." And I got my, and I got my, I got the host, or I got blessed, and I walked back out, and I said a prayer in front of church, and I turned right, and immediately went to the elote guy, and I watched the most perfect skill set of putting elote together with the proper cheese, using the
Mm.
corn water, making sure the lime was in there the right way, a little bit of tahine, the cotija that was going in. Watching like an artist go to work. It was just a really cool thing. So that was my first elote. I didn't mean to hijack your first elote experience,
No, mine's not as exciting.
but it
My
was
Aunt
pretty cool.
Mary, yeah, she just told me that you got to go south of the South Side and you got to hit up certain neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And she calls it. Well, she was a social worker in Chicago in the 70s and 80s
Oh God, she saw
into
some
the
shit.
90s. Yeah, so she's a restaurant person and she's sober now 40 plus years. So
There you go.
she
That's
understands the
huge.
world that we're in, right?
Yeah.
But she said you got to go to you got to go to like a back alley type place
Yeah.
and make sure you see the trunks popped open. And that's where you get really good elote. And she took me to a really cool neighborhood, and that's where my first elote experience was
See.
yeah, isn't that funny? But like real, like I mean, obviously I didn't get it in Mexico, which would be incredible. Like I would love to be able to travel down there and have like a real that's
Yeah.
my dream, take the kids to do that. But yeah, mine was in the south of Chicago.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever really had elote prior to. Like, I know I've had elote before. Like, don't get me wrong. We've all had it,
Right, I know what you mean.
but like, there's just something about the way it happens. There's actually a really cool section of, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, and I'm going to share my secrets, but there's an awesome section in Norristown on Marshall Street that has some of the greatest Mexican that I've had. In
Mm.
fact, there's one place that I'm not going to give the name, but it's a Puebla style taco that they do, and I'm not going to tell you the name of the place because I don't want to ruin it. You know what's weird? And here's the weird thing: there was a review done of this place, and the person called them racist because they didn't speak English. Like it's a full blown, like it's a mother, father, son. They sell
Son.
produce in front of the restaurant.
Mm.
Carla and Maria work in the kitchen. I know this because I hop in the kitchen with them often whenever I go in, because I want to know like what they're doing to make. There's a Puebla style potato, which is a boiled potato that is unbelievably, it's not a mashed potato because it still is very granular and grainy to it, but it has they cook it with poblanos,
Mm.
so when it comes out, they kind of heat it up in a pan again. Like, I haven't seen the final method, but they did say I was allowed into the kitchen. Oh my God, I'm so itchy this morning. I'm not on drugs. I'm just itchy. I got a new tattoo and it's driving me crazy.
I saw
So
you scratching. I was like, didn't he just
yeah.
get a tattoo there?
Um So I go into the kitchen and I hang out with these women in the kitchen when I go there. But outside of the place, there's a restaurant next door to the place that I'm not going to tell you the name of because I don't want to ruin the authenticity of the property, that doesn't have a menu. They don't
You
speak
tell me
any
more.
English. You kind of have to figure out. So like I go in and I always ask them, what kind of meats do they have? And
Mm,
then she kind of breaks down, oh, we've got, we've got this, we've got that, we've got blah, blah, blah. So she kind of breaks it down for me. And then we have to walk them through what we want on the taco. Oaxacan cheese, avocado. I always say potato, muy importante is más potato, like patatas. I want a lot of goddamn potatoes on my taco. Um, it's an awesome place. It's such a cool spot. And it is like a little Mexican community. It's like
mm.
4 blocks long, if that, maybe 3, and that's where I go and hide and have unbelievable tacos
I know. I've seen you on
and
Instagram
elote.
when you find like a spot that you really love.
Oh,
It's usually totally like considered like an often overlooked spot or like
totally.
but I mean I think anyone really in hospitality knows that your favorite place or the place that no one goes to.
Yeah. There's also a lot. I mean, people always say to me, "Oh, it must be really hard, because of what you do, like all the judging and stuff that I do to go out and eat." But it's all about the expectation. Whatever
Mhm.
if you like, I felt really bad. I wish that I could have replied to the race them saying that they thought that the place was racist, when in reality they just didn't. They just don't speak English.
Right. They aren't
It's
able
in
to
a
communicate.
Mexican. They live in a Mexican community. They
Mhm.
they thrive within the Mexican community of Norristown. It is not their. They do not have to speak English at all. Just because you're here doesn't mean you have to speak English. Look, it helps. But how many of us go to another country and really drive right in and drive it home that we want to speak French?
Yeah,
I
right.
landed
No.
in Italy. My brother and I went to Italy 2 years ago, and I landed after studying Italian for roughly 6 months. And I landed, and the first words out of my mouth were "Hola." Like I immediately spoke
Beautiful.
Spanish. It wasn't. I've talked to Swedish people and spoken Spanish because it's like my psychological go to.
Well, our kitchens are I mean anyone that actually understands that's the majority of our kitchens. I mean, I would hate even trying to attempt Spanish because I feel like I offend, but I'm able to communicate because that's what I had to
Yeah,
do working in restaurants. Like there's a
and
give
it's.
and take on both sides.
I also think that there's very few. There's a couple of things that you need to learn. One is como se dice. Como se dice. It means how do you say. Como se dice. Oh, by the way, there's my girls.
Oh.
um, it's the little things that make a huge difference. Like there's a comfort level that starts to happen. Look, I just did an event in Austin, and they didn't have a staff. The hotel that I went to didn't have enough staff to work with me, so we hired 14 people on Thursday night to come in, and every one of them. Let me rephrase that. Not one of them spoke English.
Wow, that quickly too.
That happened so fast. I
Yeah.
mean, it was literally like now I'm thrown. I went from chef to fix it mode because my
Hmm.
normal conversation would be go into the walk-in, grab cart number 5, put it on number 5 station, and now I'm saying, now my brain is trying to comprehend how to tell this person what to do in a 4-minute period.
Hmm.
It was a tough situation. It really wasn't, but they were all awesome. I mean, everybody that I worked with, that was really cool. I don't even know where I'm going with that, but it was pretty
Well,
cool.
I mean, just kind of, it's actually funny that you said that because it goes into what I was about to say. Because when we first chatted, we like really laid it all out there, navigating your journey from your back of house and
Yeah.
being super young in the industry to media personality to what it feels like for me over the past 2 years. You've like married all of your qualities and experiences into a very well defined just brand of being Chef Brian Duffy. Like you are
Yeah,
exactly who you say you are. I does that make sense? Like you can
it
just
does.
tell that you're really loving your life.
I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, I'm traveling a tremendous amount,
Hmm.
which is really tough for the people that are close in my life, but my girls are 24 and 21. They've got lives, they've got boyfriends, they've got jobs, they're in school, they have all their stuff. So for me, it is kind of hard to navigate that. Relationships are really hard. It puts a tremendous strain on relationships that you have in your life, whether they're familial or whether they're romantic or whatever it is, or friendly even. A lot of my friends understand that
Hmm.
I'm not home, but I'm lucky enough that I have pretty wonderful friends around the country. So no matter what city I go into, I have friends there. And then I'm also lucky because my brother and I are in business together, so he and I get to travel together. So we were just in Austin together, and then we'll meet up. And I've seen him. I've been to LA 6 or 8 times this year. So I am lucky enough in that world, and I am having a lot of fun. I mean, most of my year is spent building out my year, what I want to do. I ski a lot during the winter, so I have really cool events and clients that I work in the Pacific Northwest and the Northeast with, so that I can ski as well while I'm up
So
there.
strategic.
I really am very strategic. Yeah, I
That's
really want to put
amazing.
it together so that it's, I mean, this is the way that life should be in my mind. Um, I'm not a homebody. I can't, if I'm home, I'm lazy as shit. Super lazy when I'm home. Although I have a massive day today, just so you know. Because I've been on the road for the last week, so I have a lot of
Right.
work to do. But when I'm not home, like, I really focus on what I have to get done. There's a lot of work that has to be done. Um, and there's a lot of planning, a lot of coordinating, whether I'm opening a restaurant or whether I'm doing Yum Crunch stuff. I'm also a partner in a cookie company in Alaska. I'm a partner in a spice company out of Germany. I have, I have a consulting firm. I still have clients that I have to deal with on a
Yeah.
daily basis. Like, I was in Cincinnati. I was in Cincinnati Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the week before, because I had to go down and be in a kitchen with clients to redo recipes and fix stuff that these douchebags who were in the kitchen the months prior, just ripped recipes apart and
Mm.
changed quality of things. And it was pretty bad. It was disheartening to walk in and see that. But I don't know. Now I'm rambling.
Well, I know with your consulting, you've said that you spend time in those communities. Like you really try to understand
Yeah.
what it's like there, what is your vision, and you embrace whatever it is, like to like the nth degree. And so I know you take a lot of pride in all of your developments, whether it's recipe or the type of service that you're looking to
I really
accomplish.
want, I really want one of my big goals is restaurant owners. I really want them to, how can I put this? I really want people to find the highest quality product and charge accordingly.
Hmm.
So many restaurants that are out there, they're opening up and they're saying, well, Bob down the street's doing a cheesesteak at $11, so I should be doing mine at $10.50. Instead of buying the best quality ingredients that you can buy. So I always talk to people when I say you're building a menu, what's your price point? Talk to me about your price point. If your price point's $9, I'll build you a $9 cheesesteak. Okay. But I need to know what your price point's going to be. And your price point should be something that is, we need to start offering much higher quality of food. Okay.
Hmm.
Our food system in the United States is pure shit. It's just what it is. It's pure shit. I as a person who travels all the time and who's in and out of restaurants, who's eating and doing all the other stuff, the amount of times that I feel like crap after eating a meal is more often than not. I would say 75% of the time that I eat a meal, I feel like shit. Okay. Oops, sorry. Children behind
No,
you? Oh.
it's my dog snoring. Both my
Oh.
dogs decided to be with me, and I'm like, what in the hell is happening?
I thought there was children there and I was like
No,
cursing.
my mom has my baby, and my daughter's at school. Thank God.
Nice. My brother's kids call me Uncle Cursing Machine.
Oh,
So
are you
they,
kidding me?
like, when my brothers answer the phone when they're in the car, they're like, "Hey, Uncle Bry, kids are in the car."
That's amazing. Yeah, we
Yeah,
have to work on our language with our daughter, with
yeah.
my
I've got.
my language, because she listens and repeats everything.
Oh, I'm sure she does. Totally. She's got to pay attention to what mom says.
I
So,
know.
I think that, so when I go into so when I open a restaurant with clients, like, I have this awesome place, and I'll call them out. It's called the Red Leprechaun in Cincinnati. It's a really, really cool spot, and the owner is an unbelievable guy. He's the type of owner that I wish that more owners would be. He's, we had a lot of struggling trying to find quality chefs to come into the restaurant to take it over. It's a really cool Irish pub, and it's
Hmm.
on the banks. It's in between the Cincinnati Reds and the Cincinnati Bengals stadium. Like, you
Oh,
can't
cool.
find a cooler location to have a really cool Irish pub than this little spot. I mean, it's so Ireland-esque just because the water's in front of it. You've got a stadium in front, like on either side of it. It's a really, really cool spot. And this was a guy who I said, what's your price point for the menu? And he gave me the price point, and he said, but I want to make sure we have great product. And when
That's good.
the when we struggled through the kitchen staff, and we weren't able to find a really high quality prep cook or a chef, he stepped in and took over. I mean, this was the owner of the restaurant who's used to owning nightclubs, who's now waking up at 9 a.m. instead of noon to go into the restaurant to do all the prep, and he now understands it all. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the big things that we did was we talked about the high quality of food that we wanted to serve. So we buy as much local product. We pay 90 cents a roll for the bread because it's a local bread. Realize the average restaurant pays between 35 and 72 cents for bread, whatever it is per sandwich. We pay 90 cents a roll because it's a local bakery called 16 Bricks. We buy the meats that we get in our Lauer Family Foods on their corned beef because it's the best quality that we could find. The bangers that we bring in, the Irish sausages that we bring in are from a baker or a butcher around the corner called Avril Blah. It's a weird name for a butcher is Blah. Literally, it's Blah. The last name is Blah. So, which is weird because none of their product is blah. It's really good
stuff.
quality product and they do an amazing job, but we pay more for that. So about 6 months ago when I went into the restaurant and I met the old chef that was in there, who I wasn't involved in the hiring process. My client handled all that. And I went in and I walked into the kitchen and one of the first things I saw was on the saute station was a gallon of whirl. Okay. Whirl is a butter substitute that's used because it's cheaper than butter. And it's
I've never
pure.
heard of that.
Yeah, because it's pure shit. And nobody says, oh, sauteed in whirl. They say sauteed in. Have you ever had, okay, so Maryland. You ever gone out and had crabs and you get that weird tasting butter?
Yeah, it's like the weird clarified water butter.
Not clarified, not water butter. It's called whirl. It's a butter substitute. And it's pure shit because it makes you poop. And it's probably going to end up giving you cancer at some point, and it tastes like butt. And I don't eat at restaurants. Like if I go out to breakfast, there's a chain. I'll call them out. I don't care. Nudies Cafe up here. They use whirl. Every time I eat in there, I have to go home right after I eat because I got to go to the bathroom.
How do you know it's how do you know?
Because
Can
you can
tell?
taste it.
Okay.
You can taste it. It's a chemically enhanced butter substitute. It's used because butter is expensive.
My brain, it's funny. James and I just watched last night. He didn't really know who
Jerry Maguire. Were you about to say
no,
Jerry
he
Maguire?
no, he didn't really know who oh my god. UK Naked Chef. What the hell is his name?
Oh my God, Jamie Oliver.
Jamie Oliver. He didn't
He's
really know
awesome.
He didn't know who he was, but
Right.
he's like, I feel like I've seen
And you guys are
this,
still
like,
together? He didn't know who Jamie Oliver was, and you guys are still together? Fine,
he
babies
was a
bring everybody together. I got you.
he was a server, remember? Like, okay,
That's
so
true.
he
That's
wasn't,
true.
and he wasn't very good at it. But he remembers, he's like, I feel like I've seen this guy in like some sort of meme. I'm like, he used the chicken nugget meme that everyone talks about, where
Yeah.
he showed kids like, this is what chicken nuggets are. It's literally
Pink slime.
purified leftover stuff.
Yeah, pieces parts.
And we watched just the Chef's Table episode last night about him and why he believed in like really acknowledging what kids are eating in schools and
Yeah.
how important it is. And because now that we're parents and we've noticed with our daughter, we don't let her have certain things because in the last year alone, we can see when she's starting to crash.
Yeah.
Because if she had a certain snack or something, or she gets really anxious, and I'm like trying to check the diets. It's so hard. But when we go out and dine, I am very particular about what she can and can't have. But we don't go to a lot of places anymore.
Yeah.
Like he and I are watching the episode last night, and it really is like one of those things as parents. It's really great to see chefs like you, like him, that talk about like what you're putting in your bodies really does matter, and
Yeah.
like what's on your menu really does matter. Because people are spending their money to be there, and what you don't want to do is cause sicknesses.
And we're spending more money than we ever have.
Right, exactly.
And
So
the-
this
and-
whole world butter thing, my brain's like, I've never heard of this. But
it's
also,
horrible.
I make crabs at home.
It's
I do my own
it's
butter.
so bad. It's just infuriating to me to even think like I walked into the restaurant last week and I remembered that like whirl moment that I had, and I was talking to the chef and kind of telling her about it, and at the same time I watched one of the cooks grab 2 pounds of butter, bring it out, put it in a pan, melt the butter up, and pour it into the butter wheel. Okay, so a butter wheel is a six pan. For those of you who don't know, a six pan is roughly about that big. It holds two quarts. Blah 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 blah, and it fits into a either a steam table or a bain marie or something to that effect. And inside of there is a mesh wheel that goes around. So when I take my bun and I roll it over top of it, it butters the bread. So I don't have to spread it on or do something like that. And it's like when you look at it and the milk fats are in there and all that milk solid is in there and all that goodness is in there, and you watch how it caramelizes and the way that it toasts a piece of bread, instead of having a piece of shit chemical product that
Mm-hmm.
is attached to it. It's just not like we cost for that. So the
Right.
burger is a $15 burger, which is still very inexpensive for a burger in this day and age.
Yes.
And 90 cents of that goes directly to the bread. And realize that
Mm-hmm.
$3.29 of that goes directly to the butter. Like, the amount that we have to charge for things is crazy, because to buy high quality product in this country costs a tremendous amount of money. And the reason why is because we have so much shit food that's out there that you can buy. What is the first thing that most people talk about when they go out to eat? Oh my God, for like $30, we had the greatest meal. There's always a price associated
Mm-hmm.
with what people eat. It's
Mm-hmm.
the way that we talk. Servers, when they go up and give their specials for 21.50 tonight, there's, and I'm the king of making sure that people know how much things cost. And here's my reason why. My ex-wife and I had just had a baby. Emily was just born. I probably had $250 in my checking account, like,
Mm-hmm.
as a young father, young chef working. We went out to dinner and the server came over and was like, "We have this great antipasto, and it's blah 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 blah. It's got this, it's got that," and she's going through everything that it has in it. And I just assumed it was around the same price as the appetizers, and it came out, it was like a $35 appetizer, whatever it
Mm.
was. And from that point, and I was shocked, because dinner was, I want to say it was like $185, which is not even a question in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it was such a shock to me. That was 25 years ago. It was such a shock to me that I made sure that from that point forward, every single server that, or every restaurant that I was involved in, that pricing was something that was talked about. Okay. Our special today is blah, 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 boom, 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 for 21.50, for 21.95, whatever it is. Because I feel that people need to know how much things cost, but we should never be shocked at how much things cost, because if you have high quality food, we have to charge accordingly. So what I'm getting to is, in this restaurant, we bought the highest quality food and we costed the menu out for the highest quality food. It's what we did. And this guy immediately, when I asked him, and I called him a shoemaker and I called him a hack, very offendingly, I made sure that I wanted to offend him because of the fact that he was trying to cut corners. And he said, "Well, I'm really worried about food costs." And I said, "We've never had a food cost problem in this restaurant. There's
Mm-hmm.
no reason for you to buy crap food just to try to hit a food cost, because we don't have a food cost problem. And our menu is costed accordingly to the product that we're serving." Does that make sense?
I think it's I don't say ours. I'm not speak. It's a default. A lot of people that have been in the industry for a long time, the default is we've always done it this way, and cost is always a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, no, across the board, whether it's the cost of employees, whether it's the cost of food, paper
Yeah.
products, all the things. Like everything has a cost, which is so funny because if you go to any other business outside of our industry, no one's really nickel and diming the
Never.
cost of things
Never.
because it's what it costs to run their business. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yes.
So,
100%.
it's yeah. I mean, I just the other day shared a LinkedIn post with the Burn Chef was about hearing the words "is the way we've always done it." You are immediately setting up throwing the gauntlet down. We're not going to change
Yeah.
because you don't want to change. Like it immediately puts off this thing. So when people like yourselves, or maybe even like, let's not discredit your staff. They might also have knowledge of, but we were serving it this way. People will really like the way it tastes. We've never gotten bad feedback, because then they have the experience of what the staff or the customers are getting,
Exactly.
but they don't want to. It's just very weird. And I can't. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised because it's just a default of like,
Yeah.
well, that's how it's easier, it's cheaper.
But I also think, I mean, it all started with, the $5 value meal,
I know.
supersized on this and that stuff. We're just conditioned to look at food as a cost as opposed to as a fuel that feeds our body.
Mhm.
And that's the really important part. And as I get older, I'm 54. As my eyes can tell in the puffiness this morning that I have from traveling for the last couple of weeks, and food is, I mean, look, I'll even speak very freely. I did a mushroom journey about 2 years ago, one of the first ones I had ever done. And I take notes. I took notes during the whole thing. And the first note that I took was that food is poison, because it
Absolutely.
is. The most of the food that we serve that comes out of restaurants is not a well balanced or a quality product that's being sold. And when you go out to dinner with your kids and you order chicken fingers, think of Jamie Oliver.
And so that was right, and that's it. So we are, also our son though he eats anything. He is such a little tank. He
Yeah,
eats a lot of meat, loves meat.
protein.
It's
Swine is fine.
yeah, yeah, and but yes, I mean, but see, my husband and I come from very different backgrounds, and you know what they could afford is what he ate,
Totally.
and there's a lot of people, and I talk to my mom a lot about this. I've always wanted to write a recipe book that says anyone can cook, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of families that can only afford canned vegetables.
Yeah.
But canned vegetables also have different, you have to look what's in canned vegetables, because not
Yeah.
everything is just exactly the vegetable. It's what they preserve it in, or what is the water, is it sodium, is there no, all that stuff really matters, because they're families that literally can't afford to eat. And wouldn't it be nice if they could afford to feed their families with healthy foods and
Yeah.
expose their children to healthy foods where they don't feel like they can't pay the rest of their bills? And then I also hate that people can't go dine out, because I love the industry so much. And I talked to another woman who's on the show. The best part about going to restaurants is the experience you get from the server, the bartender, or whoever it is. Like that's,
Absolutely. They're the first and
and
last line of
yeah.
defense.
And people can't even experience that joy of being taken care of by someone else.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad. I really I have so many hopes and dreams that we can turn things around, because dining out is it's just so much fun. And there's so much love around, and
Yeah.
memory making experiences that people don't get. And it's so sad.
Well, I hate to tell you that it's only going to get worse.
Oh, don't tell me that. My people are
So
little.
I know it's one of those things, I mean, we're moving into so much of a QSR world.
So
That
true.
quick service restaurant is so prevalent now. It's the mainstay of our dining in our country. It really is all about QSR. It's the way that it's working. Um, I just posted something yesterday that was, the guy walks up to the counter. He's like, "Hey, can I see a menu?" And the guy's like, "Oh, we're trying to save the planet. Here's our
Mhm.
QR code." And you scan the QR code, and then he's like, "Okay, cool, I'll order." He's like, "No, no, 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 no. You can just order on the app." And then the guy's like, "All right, well, I'm standing in front of you though." And he's like, "Yeah, but you can order right through the app. Don't worry about it." And then the guy's like, "Okay, would you like to give a tip?" And the guy's like, "For what? What am I tipping for? You didn't do anything."
I
He's
have
like, "You're tipping because we don't make enough money as servers
to
to
survive.
pay our bills. So you're tipping us so that we can make a living wage." Fine, fine, fine. And then he's like, "Okay, would you like fries with that?" Yes. "Okay, that'll be an upcharge. Would you like lettuce and tomato on there?" Yes. So his $19 sandwich ended up being $35 after tip, service fees, local fees, the tariff that we have put on it, plus now, and then the plate comes out and it's a half of a Cuban sandwich with 3 French fries on it.
Mhm.
Like as the joke, obviously, that's the way that it was laid out, but that's what we've experienced now. I mean, I was
Mhm.
at was it the grocery store? There was a tip jar at the grocery store.
Mhm.
Like at the grocery store. Am I tipping the bag boy now?
Do they have
You,
them?
do they have bag boys? That's true. Well, I am not a fan of the self-scanning world.
Okay.
It's funny. There was another thing that I watched that I'm really tight on a budget right now. So like it was one of these things that was up there and it said really tight on a budget now. Guess I'll have to use the self checkout line. Because I can buy $100 worth of product through the regular line, or I can buy $50 worth of product through the self checkout line.
Mhm.
It's like, we wonder why we're automating every single thing. And it's not that service is going away. There's a tremendous amount of great restaurants out there that have wonderful service staff. And you can really tell those places through the leadership, through the ownership, through the general managers and the managers that are working the floor. And I mean, like I said, I was just in a hotel, and every single part of my experience was awesome. The kitchen staff was amazing. Watching everybody work together. I took a video at one point just because I love the banter that was going on behind me. I loved hearing all the Mexican ladies kind of laughing and cackling and having fun. And there was no stress. Everybody worked together. Everybody was communicative and friendly, and then you walk into a little mom and pop shop, and the chef's doing lines in the walk-in, and the line cooks are out back smoking butts all night, and we've got 45-minute check times. It all starts at the top. It starts at leadership. Yeah. It starts 100% up there. We've got to get that and carry it through. So I don't know. We're just talking about everything. I love it.
No, I agree. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge proponent for, if you're not a good leader, then you shouldn't be calling yourself one. Like, if you can't work alongside your people and you just say that, well, I'm the CEO or I'm the head chef or whatever it is, and you can't actually do the work, then you actually aren't one. And like for our daughter, she loves to be in the kitchen. She loves it so much. Funny. Santa gave her knives for Christmas last year.
Oh, geez, there you go.
Oh yeah, I mean, not like she got lots of gifts. Knives were her number one because she used them every day.
Right.
And she wears her chef's hat all the time. And
that's
just
fun.
What I want for her is a safer kitchen, because I do have that fear of, like, you're going to work for someone that I had to work for.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be the greatest. And I want to make sure that it's a healthier place for her. So I do think conversations like this, though, of talking, like, those people exist. And you can tell that when you walk into a restaurant too, like, that their leaders stink.
Yeah. There's, I listen to my girls talk. Em will come home at the end of the day. It's still at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning after bartending, and she'll hop in bed and and like hound me and talk and like scream at me, about her shift and about things that had gone wrong. And Em's been working with me in restaurants since she was 14. So, she knows this stuff, and she's a really great employee. She works her ass off. She wants to do a great job. She wants to make it as efficient as possible. And look, she works for, she works at she works at PJ Wellahans, and they're a great chain. They've got good food. Do you know PJ Wellahans?
No, is that a Philly thing?
Yeah, they do. I don't know if it's Philly or Pittsburgh. I don't know, but either way, they do a great job. They do a very good job on food. 95% of the time, they do a really nice job. They've got a whole bunch of chains. I think they have 5 or 6 different concepts that they work on. And I've eaten at 3 of them. And one of them just sucked. It was horrible. It was a pure embarrassment. I ordered a burger. It was Wagyu. Was it Wagyu? It was a Pat LaFreda burger or whatever. And I had asked the server, like, well, are all of your burgers Pat LaFreda? And she looked at me like I had 6 heads. Like, what do you, why are you talking to me? And I said, well, it says Pat LaFreda here in the top part. And then you have a special that is this. Is that the same? And she's like, hold on. Goes in the back, asks the question. 10 minutes later, comes back out to give me the answer. And I was like, all right. And I felt it in my bones that it was going to be a shit experience. And then the burger came out, and I ordered my burger medium rare, and it comes out and it's well done. And it's a puck that's this big, that's on a bun that's this big. And I said, hey, look, you know what? And it was like $23. So I said, hey, you know what? This is completely overcooked. Can you I'm good. Don't worry about it. I didn't even order another burger. I didn't have dinner because it was just such a horrible experience at that moment. And then the manager comes out, walks behind the bar, looks at me, because I was at table 4, whatever it is, bar seat 4, looks at me, looks back at the computer, and then just walks away.
There's talk to you.
Not even an interaction in any way about this. And it was so disheartening, because I know the other 2 concepts that they have, and they do such a nice job at it. And the funny part is, I went to one of their other concepts about a month ago, and I walked in and sat down and had a conversation with the GM, who was super cool. And she's like, oh, have you been to any of other concepts? I said, actually, my daughters work at blah, blah, blah. I said, and then, you know what? I had a really shit experience over here. And she goes, oh, was the manager kind of tall with blonde hair?
So it's like a known thing.
And I was like, yeah, it was. And she's like, oh, well, Timmy. She's like, he's the worst. Same thing happened to me at JW Marriott in Austin, or not in Austin, in Arizona Phoenix. I had a horrific experience with the bartender.
Mm.
A horrible. My bill was $300. I tipped accordingly because I didn't want to look like a cheapskate in front of the people that I was having dinner with. I'll be honest with you. I mean, every single part of it, like it was Waste Management Weekend, which is the huge golf tournament they have out there.
Yeah.
The bar was dead. There was nobody in the bar at the JW Marriott, which is one of the key hotels for this whole thing.
Hmm.
I walk in and sit down at the bar and said to the bartender, like, hey, do you guys have music? And the guy was like, we don't have live music. I was like, no, like music in the bar. It's really quiet in here. You know,
Hmm.
is there any music? And he just ignores me and walks away and goes out. And the next thing you know, the music goes up. Like, no, hey, hold on. Let me check with the manager. Hold on. I think you're right. Maybe we forgot that. We've got to create an ambiance. Like, let's have this
Hmm.
conversation. And he goes away and then comes back. I order my stuff and I'm a super communicative person. I'm like, oh, hey, brother, where are you from? And he's like, oh, I'm from Maine. I was like, oh, wow. I just skied Saddleback a couple weeks ago. And he was like, oh, well, that's Vermont. I was like, I think it was Maine. He goes, well, I guess you'd know better than I would because I grew up in Vermont or Maine. And I was like,
Yeah.
just very, very combative. And then I drink Mezcal Negroni when I go out. And one of my favorite parts about the Mezcal Negroni at the end is I take, when there's just a little tiny bit of it left in that big fat cube that's in there, I pour water on top of it. And I drink that as kind of my water until I have another cocktail. It's a great way to slow myself down so I'm
Hmm.
not throwing back $30 cocktails, whatever it is. And he walks over without even saying a word and just like scoops up my drink, throws it in the trash. I was like, oh, so, damn, brother. Sorry, I wasn't done with that. And he looks at me like, you asshole. And then he looks at me while he's doing it. And then he's looking at me and he's pouring the new cocktail in the same glass, blah, blah, blah. So I call them, after some trials and tribulations of my own, I end up calling the general manager of the property. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know this is my experience as a person who travels 140,000 miles a year, who's in and out
Hmm.
of hotels, who is a high tier level of Marriott Bonvoy with you guys, who stays in Marriott's all the time. This was my experience. I said, I can't. I said, I was in Saturday night. This was my experience. And the guy goes, man, Rocky's tough, dude. Like he knew this.
Isn't
He
that so
knew that this guy,
infuriating?
they have problems with this guy. And it was a
Hmm.
Saturday night or during Waste Management Weekend. And guess what? There was nobody in their goddamn bar. And you know why?
Right.
Because Rocky's a douchebag. And his
Well,
real
it's
name's
funny.
Rocky. So, Rocky at the JW Marriott, I will find you.
Well, you know what's so funny about that? So when we have weddings in our family, we have weddings in our family, and my dad always says wherever we're staying, I hope the bar and that hotel knows that we're here because we
Yeah,
are Irish Catholic family. There's usually 300 of us to go along with it.
absolutely.
And I remember for my wedding it was no problem. We had it at the Ocean City Convention Center, and then we had an after party at our Buxy's down here, their beach bar next to it. Anyways, but for my brother's wedding, we stayed at a smaller place in Annapolis, and my dad told the bartender, "You're gonna want someone else." Like, "Oh no, no, it's fine. No, it's fine."
The worst.
We come in, and my dad's rule was, "I will not wait for a drink," because
Yeah,
my dad was kind of to pick up the tab. He was the father of the groom, so he was just trying to be the after party guy.
sure.
And I remember that bartender, the look of just sheer fear of like, I am going to burn and crash in every way. So they had people from the back coming out front, the manager had to come in. But there's things like that, like big weekends, like any major city
Yeah,
hosts a big weekend like that. Like down, we just had Ocean's Calling here in Ocean City. Every single restaurant and bar staffed up because
yeah,
you don't know if they're going to come in like herds of 30 people,
yeah,
single individuals, but they're paying a lot of money to be here. We want them to keep coming back. We want them to come to our town. We
yeah,
want them to come to our hotel. They want to know that we're having a good community. We pride ourselves on being on tourism. Like, right? That's what we need in the summer and the fall
absolutely.
months. And it's so infuriating. Like something like that. Waste Management is one of the biggest golf tournaments, and it's a huge,
Well,
young, attractive attraction one too.
huge young crowd that goes out and does all that stuff. And look, the average JW Marriott is really geared towards, I mean, our parents. If you think
Mhm.
about it, that's the way
Fair.
it was. I mean, you look for the hipper hotels and stuff like that, but this is a classic location. I mean, I was in Seattle this weekend, and we went out. So all the chefs
Hmm.
that were involved in this event, liquor reps, vendors that were at the event that we did at this event called Crave Northwest. We went to a bar. We went to the Getaway. It's a dive bar. It's a $20 Uber away from where we were staying. So there were probably 20 of us that went into this place, and it was karaoke night. They had pool tables. And like we walked in and you could see there were a couple of people in the bar that were like, oh, fuck, here we go. Here we go. This
Mm.
is going to be a problem. And the bartenders were kind of rude, like kind of
Yeah, like
rude.
you're
Like I walked
closing.
up and said, I'm going to get these 12 people drinks behind me. Here's my card. Uh, I give her my card. I order maybe two more drinks afterwards. And at one point, I'm all for if you're doing karaoke and you have a set of balls to get up in front of people that you have never met before in your life and you're going to croon a song to the best of your ability. Guess what? I am going to clap as loud as I possibly can for you. I'm going to whistle, and I have a big whistle. I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that I'm proud of you because you just did something that there's a lot of people who can talk. Oh, she sucks. Well, go up and sing better than her, you
And
know?
you do it.
Yeah. And I did do it. I didn't call her out though. But the bartender at one point walks over to me and was like, yo, cut that out. Cut that out. You're being too loud. I'm sorry. I'm just supporting another fellow human who had the balls to stand up in front of all of us and sing.
That's so
Um,
weird. It's karaoke. What do you
right.
expect?
And then I get up. So finally, it's like last call. They call last call about 45 minutes before the bar actually closed. And uh, and I had walked up and I was like, hey, can I get a water? She's like, we already called last call. I was like, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get a water, put in a plastic cup, whatever it is. And I said, while I'm at it, I may as well get my bill. And there were two people that came in and sat down at the bar. And the girl was like, last call. And the guy was like, last call. Like it's 45 minutes before the bar closes. And the girl goes, it's just been a little too crazy in here tonight. We need to curb this shit down. Like you're in a dive bar on the side of the road, and there were still probably 50 people that were in the bar.
You know what's so weird? I'm like a huge stickler for rules and following rules and like liquor laws specifically. They
Yeah,
also have these last call rules in place for a reason.
yeah,
Because when they can audit you. Like, when did you do last call? Okay, you did
yeah,
last call, but you wanted to serve your friend that came in 20 minutes before and you did.
yeah,
Like, I'm a huge proponent for like if the last call, if you're gonna close at midnight and you decided instead of 12:30, then you say, hey guys, we're closing at midnight tonight. Last call is 11:30, 11:45, whatever
yeah.
your local. You don't just decide, you know what,
Well,
I'm over it. I'm gonna close now early without saying that when people come in. It drives me nuts.
and also with that, there's the same point that, but if does the owner know that you shut the bar down 45
Right.
minutes beforehand? Oh
Another
wow, it
round of
looked like a
drinks.
pretty good Saturday night, or
Hmm.
it looked like a pretty good Friday night for you guys, and then what happened? Sales stopped at 12:15.
Interesting. Right.
I mean, why? Because there was a guy who was whistling in the bar. Like it was very odd. So I don't know. I think we're we're I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. We need to. My whole world is if I'm going into a restaurant, there are certain things that I expect. And it's a really hard thing to get now because the cost of food is so much money. The employees are so expensive. Every single thing is more expensive than ever. And if I'm in a doctor's office, I'm not negotiating my rate. If I'm working with a carpenter, I'm not
Hmm.
negotiating the rate. An electrician, I'm not negotiating. But when I go into a restaurant, I'm pissed off because I paid $15 for a burger for something that we're using to fuel our bodies.
I
And it's
know.
only going to get more expensive. The price of food is not going down. We've not seen a drop in price since pandemic.
So there's like this. I have so many thoughts and opinions on it, and I probably annoy my friends that aren't in the industry when I talk about it. But Amy Racine was on this show, and she and I are talking about wine service and the wine program specifically.
Right.
It is a luxury for people, but I don't assume that people can't afford it. If they are like hiring a babysitter and they're coming out to dine, I'm probably assuming that they have saved up for this night
Yeah.
to be here.
Right.
And if you have that mindset as a manager or as someone that's training staff, like, hey, these people are saving up their money to be here. It's a
Yeah.
luxury for them. And if they're going to spend money on X, Y, and Z, then you better give them the service that they deserve.
Yeah.
or don't be here. And
Yeah.
she prides herself on her beverage program that everything is special, even if it's not highlighted as such. And the way that she talks about wine and cocktails and everything, like it's all about selling that experience. So I do believe there's people in the industry that are trying to fight and advocate for it, but you're right. There's some people that just like they're over it.
Yeah.
People are tight wallets, but if they have tight wallets, then give them what they want because you might be surprised.
Yeah.
They might save up money again and come back.
It's unbelievable to hear. Like my girls talk, especially Emily. My 24-year-old, and she's a bartender, and she gets it. I mean, she just gets it. She understands that, a lot of these people that are coming in, and she says it, she's like, I have a lot of people that come in that are very blue collar people.
Mm-hmm.
They've still got paint all over their bodies because they're painters, that we're house painting for the day, and mechanics come in. And, one day she was in there and she's talking to one of the mechanic guys. He's like, hey, how's everything going? She's like, oh, I had some issues with my car this morning. And the guy's like, give me your keys. And he went out and did a diagnosis on my daughter's car in the parking lot. Like these are the people that are coming into that bar. And she says all the time, like, I kind of owe them a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
I owe it to these people because they're coming out. And these are the guys that, one guy gave her $100 bill last year for Christmas. Like these are the people that are coming in. It's that, it's like the mailman. The mailman comes and you give him a tip at the end of the year, the doorman in a New York high rise and all these things. And that's how these people see Emily. She is a part of their life.
Yeah.
They're friends. Now they may just be friends inside of the business. It's not like they're going to hang out outside of the business together, but it's the way that it is. And she exceeds the expectations. And that's what I think that we're missing in a lot of places. And so when I talk to owners about restaurants and when I talk to chefs about stuff, everybody wants to do the upsell. We all upsell. Do me a favor. I got copper water. I want everybody to be drinking copper water. Make sure every table has copper water. Okay. What's copper water?
Right.
And you get to the table and we sit down at the table and the server says, oh my God, I have the greatest copper water. You're not going to believe it. You guys are going to love this stuff. And they're like, well, why is it copper water? And they're like, well, can't you see? Because
you can see it's copper.
There's no explanation behind it because we didn't educate our staff. So if I say to you, the reason why we're serving copper water is because of the fact that there's minerals on the inside of the copper that react with the water that's in here. It's better for you. It tastes better. It's cleaner. Plus, there's no bacteria. Like in here, we've got bacteria because this wasn't cleaned the proper. Like I educate staff as far as I possibly can, and we have to do that because education creates the upsell. Mm-hmm. That's the whole process behind it. So you should, in your restaurant, be sitting with your staff every single day, even if it's 5 minutes. Okay, if it's 5 minutes, hey guys, I just want you to know this right here. This is our French fry dish. That is a number one appetizer on our menu. Why is it the number one appetizer on our menu? Because we use this in our French fry seasoning. Because this is the sauce that we serve with it. How do we make that sauce? There's onion powder, there's garlic powder. We do this. We use mayonnaise and sour cream, a little bit of ketchup with some mustard that goes in. The mustard that we use is this, this, and this. So I over-inform the staff about what's going on and what's in each dish. Because then when they get to the table and somebody says, oh my God, I'm allergic to mustard. And they're like, do me a favor, don't get the French fries. Or I'll give you another sauce because there is mustard in that sauce.
Right.
And my rule of thumb is very simple, that if I ask a server a question and they have to go into the kitchen and say, hold on, let me ask this kitchen, or let me ask the chef, or let me ask a manager, then the manager, chef, or kitchen didn't do their job in education. So we have to hold these staff meals every single day. We've got to communicate with our staff about what happens, what's in every dish, whether it's a new dish or an old dish. I was in a property a couple weeks ago, and one of the servers, I was like, oh, brother, you've been here since we opened. And the guy's like, yeah, you're right, I have. And I'm like, awesome. What's in the shepherd's pie? And he had no idea.
Right.
Well, it's beef, right? And I'm like, what is going on here? How is it that we missed this? Like, I spent a whole week educating you guys about what's in every dish. So we went back through the whole menu. We talked about the whole menu, and they've had a great sales week.
Yeah, it's funny, the art of the pre-shift doesn't exist in a lot of places. And I'll be honest, like there were days where I was like, we don't have time for pre-shift, but these are special. What are we 86th of? This person didn't show up. We're short-staffed. If you need me, I'll be on the line.
Yeah.
And but at least you communicate. I think it's just that's also, I think servers in general or kitchen staff, they just need someone to acknowledge that there's a presence of authority there.
Yes.
That is there to put out the fire should there be one.
100%.
And But so you were talked earlier about the QSR and the, the QR readers and everything, that I do fear that there is this place of, well, we don't need managers. We can cut that out. We can just have, a lead server be here. Now that's fine for like a cover of like an hour, right? Like
Yeah,
that, whatever. But no, you always need the president of manager. And they're like, well, we can't afford to pay one. Well, why can't you afford to pay one, but you can afford to pay for this, and the other thing?
yeah,
You know, good leaders also help you make more money because they're making sure things are done the right way, like education, where
sure.
you can sell, make a profit. And I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head, like everything about just way the industry is and the healthy side of it. And I know that's so important to you, but
Yeah.
you've also been so involved with your brother, like you said, and Yum Crunch and becoming this guy, the meat man. Why has that been so important for you guys? I feel like that's a huge part of your identity right now. Not the meat man itself, but
No,
like
no.
the storytelling and why their product specifically.
I'm really proud of their product. That's why.
That you can tell.
I'm so proud of their product because they're doing something that really nobody else is doing. Okay, let's talk about lunch meats. So there's a company out there that sounds like Schmore Schmed. Okay, they killed 11 people 2 years ago. Okay, they killed 11 people, and they had 67 critical violations. By the way, if you don't know Schmore's Head, it's Boar's Head.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They had 67 critical violations on their health inspection. That the employees were the one that was ultimately calling the Board of Health and saying, we're not serving a quality product. Okay. And so you kill 11 people and you get fined and you get shut down for a little while because you've got to rebuild your factory and all that stuff. But it's the average consumer, and it was a blip in our screen.
Mm-hmm,
A
mm-hmm.
blip in our screen. The last person that they killed was a Holocaust survivor, and this was a guy who was eating liverwurst, and he died. Okay, so he made it through the Holocaust, but he died eating lunch. There's something pretty major with that. And to give you the idea, the average lunch meat that is out there has 27 to 34 ingredients added into the lunch meat. Okay, 27 to 34 ingredients in lunch meat. The company that I work with, and I'm not I'm kind of a spokesperson, but the company pays us to do marketing for them.
Mm-hmm.
But when I work with their products, they have 5 ingredients, 5 to 7 in their lunch meats. So how is it that we have a company that can do that? But then we have another company, and there's 2 other majors, like I said, Schmore Schmed and Schmeats and Schmatzen. So you make the choice on what it is that you want to put into your children's bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really scary thought process that we have food with the amount of chemicals that we have in it. And look, I'm not going to lie, the artisan line from Lauer Family Foods is a little bit more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we eating for cost, or are we eating for health, for sustenance? Are we eating for what? What is it that we're doing, especially when it comes to our kids? That's a really important thing, I mean, as a person who deals with a tremendous amount of food, who's in and out of different states on a weekly basis, constantly in and out of restaurants, listening to people talk, the number one concern on people's mind is the cost of food. And the marketing that happens behind that is geared towards the cost of food. That's what it is, because it's an important thing for everybody in the country. But if we start raising awareness and we start getting loud and we start saying, I don't want that. So when I go to the grocery store and I look over and I see Boar's Head and they say, here's what we have. And I say, oh, that's Boar's Head. No, thank you. They killed 11 people last year. Okay. We have to get loud about the product that's being served to us. We have to make it known that we want a better product. When the consumer, this is such a full circle thing. It's our job to educate the consumers about what is going on with the food that we're doing. It is the consumer's job to ask for better product, because when the consumer asks for a better product, the restaurant is going to ask the purveyor for a better product. Yep. The purveyor is going to ask the manufacturer for a better product, and the manufacturer is going to ask the farmer, the cattle, rancher, the pig raiser, the aqueduct, whatever it is, whoever's buying, whoever's creating or selling or making this product is ultimately going to know that we as humans want a better product. But if we
Paying
just
attention.
sit back and accept the product that we're being given, we look at autism that is a higher rate than it ever has been. There's 1 in 54 boys that are born with autism every single year. There's 1 in 130 girls that are born with autism every single year. There's a direct correlation between the food and the chemicals that we eat to learning disabilities, to kids with different abilities, to an unbelievable world of obesity. I am a short, fat human being. I enjoy that portion of it, and I do it because I eat, but I try to put a good quality product into my body. And if you work with me as a client, I'm going to make sure that we serve the highest quality food that we can based on the price point that you're trying to hit. And we need to make a change, and we have to get loud. And it's not fair that if I want to buy a really good carrot, I'm going to have to pay $5 a pound for a really, really good carrot that was grown locally in my backyard. That's a fucked up situation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know, it's no, you don't have to
That's how I feel
apologize.
about that.
Oh, well, as everyone knows, I'm very loud about mental health and women's health in
Yeah.
the industry
Yeah.
because there's a point where when it becomes personal. I mean, this is personal for you. You've been a chef
Yeah.
for however many years. I will not age you. I think you already aged yourself, though.
I'm 54.
Yeah, you already did age yourself. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
This has been your whole life, and you're a father, and you've got two young women that are now, going into their adulthood,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure that the world is healthy for them and
Yeah.
that the world that they're going to live in and work in is healthy. And I think there is this whole thing that for us that stay in the industry, you see these fractions of things we've just been putting band-aids on and band-aids on, band-aids
Yeah.
on, band-aids on. Well, those band-aids are pretty gross now.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
everyone's starting to pull them off. And I think
finger cots, the
yeah, I
worst.
know. I think it's okay though to say, like, I don't want to be a chef that is willing to do it cheaply to make you more money. Like, if you're gonna be my client, this is what you expect from me. I think that's totally fair and valid. Like, everybody that knows me, I will talk about women's health and hospitality and how it
Sure.
doesn't exist
Yeah.
till I'm blue in the face or until my movie comes out. Like, that's what I'm talking about because
Yeah.
it's so important to me. And I do think that people are afraid to offend. And it's not even really offending. It's just honest truth telling
Yeah.
that our industry could do so much better. We just don't want to because it's too expensive.
It's not
Or
cost
they
effective. I'm gonna give you a little thing real quick. I know I kind of joke around about this copper water bottle.
tell me about this.
Okay, so one, I noticed. So I'm a the number one thing that goes into my body is water. Okay, I don't drink soda. I don't really drink like any sort of soft drink or anything like that. It's just not something that I enjoy. I don't like the flavor of it. My coffee that I drink, I don't drink regular coffee. I drink mushroom coffee. I like the way I feel when I drink regular coffee. I get very jittery.
Hmm.
You want too much information. If I drink regular coffee, I get like smelly armpits. So I don't drink
So you
regular
actually have it's like a chemical reaction for you
physical
then.
reactions.
Yeah.
It's a reaction to the pH in my body, the pH that happens from that. It changes the pH level of my body. So I don't drink coffee. I love coffee, but the number one ingredient in coffee beside the bean is water. It's the thing that happens. Like right here, I have a lot of beverages. This is athletic greens that I drink with collagen. There's certain stuff that I do every day, but what is the main ingredient to that? It's water. So for me, I want to drink the best possible water that I can get. And it's not about being bougie. It's not about the cost or anything else. I actually drive up to 40 miles to go and get my water. Okay. So I drive to Bartow, Pennsylvania. Damn it. Now everybody's going
Now
to
you've
know
told
where I am.
everybody.
I did. And it's a really tiny little spring that I sit and I go, and we sit out there. I bring a chair with me and I fill my water bottles. I fill these water bottles. And the reason why I do that is because it's got the minerals from where I live.
Hmm.
It's got all the goodness of the earth from where I live that I'm going to put back into my body. And this is starting to sound really weird because I'm not like a crunchy hippie kind of guy, but I am kind of crunchy hippie. So fuck it, I'm going to run with it. But here's the part. When I first started to get my own water, there were 22 different locations in and around Philadelphia to get your water. Okay. Fast forward now to roughly 7 years. There are 2 natural springs left in this area that are not contaminated or dried up.
Mm,
So 20 of these natural water sources that we've had around and in our area are gone. That should be a concern. We
yeah.
should be concerned about this. We should be concerned that it's more normal to walk around with a bottle of water than it is anything else. So we're actually buying more plastic and more water and all the other bullshit out of the grocery store. And as a guy who travels, I have water bottles. Like I used to drink out of Nalgene's. I loved my Nalgene's, but I started to notice mold growing in my Nalgene's,
Yeah.
even though I was running them through the dishwasher. Um, you know, like that's scary stuff. That's
Hmm.
scary stuff. And they say that we all joke around about how dirty things are and door handles and gas pumps and bathrooms and all the other thing. This is one of the dirtiest things that you have right here.
We just tossed out three of our daughters. She has a water bottle for school.
Yeah.
We just tossed three out because they grow mold in them. And if you don't clean underneath
Yeah.
the caps and people don't know that, or like the straw, it's gross.
Yeah. I have and so why do I use copper? Because copper adds added minerals and stuff into my water. Plus, it doesn't harbor bacteria on the inside as much
Interesting.
because it's not that sort of thing. So, and look, it's not a cheap bottle; it's a $30 water bottle. But if you're going out there and you're buying a Stanley, you're paying $40 and $50 anyway for that sort of stuff. I beat the hell out of it. It's literally just gets banged up all over the place, and I like the taste of it. And it's really clean water because I know where this water came from. So cheers. Drink some good goddamn water.
That's amazing. I mean, I don't drink a lot of soda at all. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do drink a Diet Coke on occasion, but like I don't get the Diet Coke in the fridge thing. That's like all the young kids say. But
Yeah.
being a mom, I get migraines real easily with little people. So like my
Yeah.
Diet Coke is my guilty pleasure.
No, I got
But
you.
the mushroom coffee, I have considered it because I do enjoy coffee, but I can't have a lot of caffeine anymore. I instantly will feel sick, or I have
Yeah.
really low blood pressure sometimes. Like my lips right now, actually, I can tell are turning like purple and blue as we're talking.
Right.
I can feel it starting to happen. So I
Yeah.
can't have a lot of certain things, but I haven't had mushroom coffee. I'm the only one that drinks coffee in the house. Like my husband, he's only drank water and he does bloom and stuff and his
Yeah.
green. But it's important to me, but I have not found a solution yet that has
It's
worked for me. I don't
also
go out and buy a lot of coffee either. I don't go to stores
Starbucks.
and get coffee. If I do, it's like a special occasion.
Yeah.
Um, but this has all been since my own physical health journey that I'm much more aware of what I can and can't have.
Yeah.
And then also being a server for so long, we joke about it. The documentary, we did a proof of concept, and my girlfriends that joined me for it, we talked about we used to keep cranberry pills in the service station because so many of the female staff would get UTIs
Yeah.
because we just didn't drink enough water.
Yeah.
We worked at an outdoor restaurant,
Yep.
which is like the dumbest thing on the planet. Like we literally work outside sweating and we weren't drinking enough water. We'd all
Yeah.
get UTIs.
And everybody gets brown pee.
And I swear that like no, now as we're like well into our 30s, some of us are in our 40s now, we do believe that that has something to do with some of our physical health
Sure.
ailments now, was that we weren't drinking enough water and the water we were drinking wasn't, the
Well,
cleanest and stuff like that.
most restaurant water tastes like shit. It's so bad.
Right.
And so what are we going to do? Now we're going to say, okay, I'm going to get a bottle of water instead. So now I'm getting a bottle of water. Now I'm being charged $9 to drink water. It's like, but if we just have better water, that's our whole whatever. I don't know.
Well, actually, I'm talking to a water company after this about potentially partnering with me. And what they're doing is actually we're talking about this, like with the copper water
Yeah.
and providing it to restaurants. Obviously, they have different shaped bottles you can get that are branded towards your restaurant, which I think is really great marketing. Point being, I have seen definitely a pivot, though, of people serving customers better water. And also, in turn, then you have it for your staff, too.
Yeah.
You're not giving them the junk.
Well, there's some really cool sources that are out there. I mean, you can
Yeah.
look, it's all an expense. That's the thing. That's the
But
thing. If
is
you
it
put a
worth,
quality
though?
water filtration system, and I'm not a fan of all the fluoride and all the other stuff.
Mhm.
It's not that I'm like this purist individual, because trust me, I'm going to literally beat the shit out of a roadside burger and not question what's in the bread, what's in the bun, what's in the cheese, what's going on. But when I serve food, I want to serve the best possible food that I can do. It's just that simple.
Mhm.
I feel that I owe it to the consumer who's going to eat with me. Like I said, I did this smoked duck dish this weekend. Well, the duck was from my Jergowitz guys in Reading, Pennsylvania. They ship duck out to me into Seattle. You know, like
Oh,
they
wow.
send the product out there for me so that I can serve the best possible product that I can. You know, I served it on an Amoroso roll. It's a cheesesteak. I'm from Philly. I want to make sure that if I do something funky, look, Amoroso is not the cleanest product that's out there. So I do have a huge balance on what it is that I do and what I eat. I'm not just sitting around, you know, sitting in Whole Foods, meditating and hugging a tree. I do eat other products, but I know what it's going to make, how it's going to make me feel. It's just that
Balance.
simple.
It's it's a word that people don't understand. Balance
Yeah.
is a very real thing in
Yeah.
both your health journey, in your professional life, and your personal lives. Like
Yeah.
I've said this, I say this all the time. I've never met a perfect person.
Yeah.
No matter who you are not perfect. We all have things that we just have to like cave into. Like I said, I drink Diet Coke when I have a headache. I don't keep the case of it, but I always keep my little minis ready to go because I know there's a moment that I'm going to crash and I'm going to
Right.
need something to make myself feel better. And it's like you can't people you don't have to be held to the standard of like perfection. Like
Yeah.
just balance what you're doing like with things that you advocate for, the things that you work for, things that you're doing, and especially in our industry, there are moments where we're all going to fall down on our face and like it's okay. It's just like, what are you gonna do when you get back up? And like for you, that's what I'm saying. Like the last 2 years specifically, I swear you are so authentically yourself in
Thanks.
everything that you're doing, even more so than when I first met you. And you talked about, kind of breaking away from what the media personality of Chef Brian Duffy was or supposed to be. Like you
Yeah.
are really proud of the products that you're putting out. Your
I
consulting, I
love this
know,
stuff, man.
means a lot to you. I actually got to hug Brian in real life, randomly walking across.
Yeah.
Where the hell were we? Atlanta?
Vegas.
We
No,
were
we
in
were in
Atlanta, I think.
Vegas.
No, we were in Atlanta.
We were in Atlanta?
It was for the NAFM conference, and I'm with
That's
my
right. I forgot.
Burnt Chef ambassadors, and I'm looking at this person wearing a bolo,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Brian Duffy, 200 yards in front of me,
Yeah.
and I got to see you in real life and give you a hug. But like, that's what I mean. Like, you are authentically who you are. You're going to these conferences. You're
Yeah.
checking out the products of food. You're doing these judging. And I know that a lot of chefs who have you judge their food, it means a lot to them because you're very
Thanks.
honest with the reviews that you give back
Yeah.
and you never cut anyone down, which is just so refreshing. It's just like, hey, this was great, but
Yeah.
this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just really happy to see you doing all this. And like, also, I know you got to travel with your daughters, but I know it was probably like the coolest experience to
Oh,
do
we went
something
to
like that.
Ireland this
And
year.
I know, I mean, how wonderful.
We had the greatest time. It was such a cool because it was the way that I travel, which is like I had our first night hotel. I knew where we were going to stay. It was an Airbnb in Belfast, and we landed in Dublin. And I got the car and had to figure out how to drive on the other side of the road. Uh, Pretty weird, kind of funny, but it's so funny the roles my girls played. Em's along for the ride. She's
She's
just
down.
along for the ride. Emily is along for the ride. She wants to experience. She wants to play. Fiona's my planner. Okay, we got a gas station 47 kilometers ahead. We know where we're going to eat. Fiona's allergic to nuts. She's very cautious about all that stuff. She kind of planned our meals. All I did was schedule the first night Airbnb in Belfast. Everything else we played by ear. Everything
Amazing.
else was played by ear. We didn't. I was booking Airbnbs sometimes 2 hours before we got to a location. Um, we just explored Ireland. I feel in a way that not a lot of people would ever have done. It was more about the time that we spent together in the car, laughing and joking, and going out and eating and having beers with my daughters, and joking around about bullshit and listen to what they talk about and the important things that are going on in their lives. And it was just the three of us. There was no partners, no
Wow.
boyfriends, no girlfriends. Nobody was involved in this. It was just a really cool, very raw experience. I mean, we slept in a double-decker bus one night in the middle of a rescue farm in a field outside of County Clare. Like, we just did really cool shit and had a lot of fun and pet baby lambs and the whole time we're driving, it's, if you've ever driven in Ireland, the roads are this wide and the cars are this wide. And I purposely ordered like it was called a Rex. It was a Volkswagen
You could
Rex,
hug.
which,
Yeah, hug the side of the road.
it's unbelievable. And so they're like, "Oh, we upgraded you." And I'm like, "Great, you upgraded me like to a Volkswagen Touareg, which is 12 inches wider than the car that I wanted to drive.
The cliff's
And they're
right
like,
there.
do you need the insurance? And I'm like, you're fucking right. I need the insurance. Like, we don't ever, I just love spending time with my girls. They're really cool kids, and it's so amazing to watch them be adults and their friendships, and they're in the industry. And I sent Em a text the other night, and I just told her how proud I was of her, for how good she is at her job, and how awesome it is that they have the experiences that I remember, of working a crazy shift, talking shit about it, and then going to the bar and hanging out and having fun with your friends. And my girls went to have you ever heard of Cowtown Rodeo?
No.
Okay, Cowtown Rodeo is the oldest, most continuously run rodeo in our country, and it is in Cowtown, New Jersey.
Of
Okay,
course it is.
it's right up 95 off of 295. And we used to take the kids there when they were younger. My nephew had his birthday party there when he was 5 years old. It's a really, really cool place to be, and it's super Americana. They pray before the rodeo goes on. They do the national anthem. They thank our president. They thank our pope. It's a very Americana thing, no matter what your feelings are about the current state of the United States that we live in right now. It's a really cool thing to go and watch Americana and watch
Did they do it
Pride.
together?
And everybody's clapping for the same thing, and all this. The meanwhile, we're treating animals inhumanely, but it's something that's just so cool to watch. Watching the women do the barrel racing, and these strong, like, these women have thighs that are going to crush iron bars, and they're holding onto a horse and doing it. Like Emily was telling me, one of the things that they saw while they were there was a woman who got like the rodeo record. It's the most continuously run rodeo in the United States, and this woman got a record for doing the greatest barrel racing while the girls were there. Like, that's cool shit. That's pride in our country. That's pride for what we have. And in a world where we live in, where we're so divided based off of party, which never, ever, ever should have happened. And I'm not talking about the president. I'm not trying to pick on one person. I'm talking about the fact that we have chosen a party as opposed to a community. We're no longer a community. We're so divided. I've lost friends. I've had horrible conversations with friends because of my belief in the political world. And I totally got off topic, but I told my girls how proud I was of them, because they're doing the same shit that I got to do and got to see. That no matter what else is going on in the world, the hospitality industry is still a very, very close-knit type group of misfits that are living a life that nobody will ever understand. They're never going to understand it. I watched, my girls threw a birthday party at my house while I was away one weekend for one of their friends. And Emily was in the house, and she was baking a cake, and Fiona was cleaning the house and getting ready for all of their friends to come over and have birthday dinner. And then I watched a gaggle of 21 to 25-year-old women walk through my Ring camera to come into the house, and then go out on the deck, and they're all taking selfies and all the other stuff. And then they get an Uber and they go to the bar, and then they get the Uber from the bar in Westchester over to Wawa. And then they were all banged up, and they didn't want to. And then they walked across the farm fields to get back to the house. And at 2:15 in the morning, I'm watching all these drunk girls walk back into the house on the Ring camera. And I just thought to myself, how many times did I have that happen in my life? How many times have I had that happen in my life, where you just keep going? So when the average consumer is going to bed, we're going out, because we still have to wind down from what it is that we had to do. And you know what? Take 5 seconds every time that you go into a restaurant and realize what it is that this person is doing. They are running around a restaurant with sometimes 5 and 10 tables of families. Can I get water? Don't forget this. I need a side of ranch. Where's this? I ordered my filet medium rare. Where's my drink? Where's this? My child just spilled shit all over the ground. And then you're not going to tip them? You're going to be cheap on the tip portion of it? This rude bartender that I had the other night, who, I'm being aggressive when I say rude, because she was very friendly at certain parts, but it was just, you could tell how annoyed she was with the clientele. My bill was $80. I tipped her $40 in cash. I didn't even put it on the credit card statement. I tipped her $40 in cash, and she just walked over and swiped it up, and walked away without even a word said. It was just rude. Like, rawr! There's so much opportunity to make so much goddamn money in this business, and it just takes being nice.
Well, I think it's funny that you say you're proud of your daughters for being in the industry, because it's like I was so ashamed to be in the industry when I was younger because my parents didn't do that. That wasn't like their lifestyle. And,
Right.
I had to explain to my dad, he was worried about me, and rightfully so. I don't think
Yeah.
any father's like, you know what, I want you to go work at the bar called Booties and know that you're going to be okay.
Exactly.
But God
Right.
loved my dad. He came down here to Ocean City and he would come dine at the restaurant and the bar because that's what dads do. They just want to
Yeah.
make sure their kids are okay, no matter if they don't understand it or not. But like you said, for the girls to see you navigate the industry and not like going up in it,
Yeah.
was not super great. It was awesome, but that they're doing well and that you acknowledge that, and just, you're advocating though for them.
Yeah.
Like, it can be so much better. There is so much money to be made. It can be a career.
So hard.
Yeah, it's just, it can be really hard. And I think that they're lucky that you're able to kind of be that voice for them. I'm sure they can handle their own. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're
Well,
doing
I mean,
just
it's
fine. Yeah.
Em said to me, she's like, man, a bunch of girls came in from high school into the bar the other night, and she's like, I was like embarrassed because I was, I'm behind the bar, and I was like, but here's the deal, like, you're 24 years old. Nobody's going to a 24-year-old psychologist,
Mm-mm.
and not only that,
So true.
you're making bank. I mean, the girl literally, I have to remind her to deposit the cash. So I got my girls, I got everybody in my life that I love, the book that we all saw on Temu, which is you put all your money in the book.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Well, the proudest moment was when they hit the first time that they hit $5,000 in the book.
Put in the bank.
And then it's like, and so I don't even, and I say to Em, like, money doesn't make money sitting in a book. But her process is when she hits that 5,000, she's going to deposit that 5,000. She's going to put that money away. She's going to put that stuff away, which I never put that money away. I spent it.
And that, right. There was
At
no
the
one.
bar.
I go back so many times. Like, I really wish someone would have just like shaken me
We had that
at
Irish Catholic
21.
thing. Our parents didn't talk to us about this stuff.
My sister and I talk about this all the time. Like,
So do
actually, one of our chief ambassadors, Tom, he's incredible. Actually, you would love him. He's so knowledgeable. He's known this industry inside out. He used to be a distributor or sales, marketing for a lot of people. Anyways, rambling. Point being, he called them when he would have conversation with his family. They'd be like, driving conversation. Like, you look through the windshield conversations.
Yeah.
Right. We've all kind of had those where like that was how you were talking about serious things. And
Right.
I so don't want that. Like, I've worked so hard to be as honest and vulnerable as possible, because I do think it makes all the difference when you're able to be like, hey, I totally screwed up back then.
Yeah.
Literally last night, my daughter goes, Mommy, can you tell me when you would do bad things? Did you get in trouble? What did Mom and Dad do? And I was like, well, actually, like, I used to make a lot of mistakes. And
Yeah.
I want you to know that Mommy made mistakes, some that weren't as serious, but some were serious. And I had to pay, the price, and I have consequences. And life's not always going to be perfect and easy, but I will make sure that I will be honest with you about every single one of those experiences when
Yeah.
the time is right. Right now, you're only 5, so you don't really know that. But no, Mom and Dad were not always happy with me. They were not always proud of me. But I can tell you that they are so proud of me now, because my dad, they used him for a radio segment that I was on. And they asked him, like, what are you most proud of about Colleen? He goes, I always knew that she was special, and I always knew that she could tell stories. I just didn't know that she'd be doing this. I never
Yeah.
thought she could make a movie.
Yeah.
And it's like really cool to hear your parents acknowledge and see those things when like they believed in you. Like, so for me, my point being, I'm sure your daughters love the fact when you say, no, you're doing a great job, because it
Yeah.
is a skill. It's not an easy skill, and everybody can do this, and everyone can
I couldn't be
be
a
in the
server.
industry.
I
No,
couldn't
but
be a
like,
server.
yeah. Oh my God. And I would never be in the kitchen. That's why, no offense, but you guys can stay in there and I will stay right over here on this side.
I was a horrible bartender. I was a horrible server. I made great money because I lied, but
I know what you mean though. Yeah. Like my friend Liz, she had me cutting in the kitchen once. She's like, just get out. And I was like, I'm trying to help. She's like, literally, she's like, your knife
Leave.
cuts irritate me. Get
Yeah.
out of my kitchen.
Yeah.
But anyways, I could ramble and talk to you forever and ever. It's been a couple years, so it's been so awesome. I'm gonna let you go. I know you have a really busy day you said ahead of you, but
I do have a crazy one.
Yeah, what can we expect from you and your consulting and Yum Crunch and all the things? What's next
You
for you?
know,
What's your next big thing other than
Yum
travel?
Crunch is Yum Crunch is something that I absolutely love because one, it's my family.
Hmm.
We just have we all have so much fun working together, and there's so much respect, mutual respect. They respect what I do, and I respect what they do, and I trust my brother implicitly. So like when Meat Man really came about, I was like, "You want me to put a 30-pound grill on my chest and
Amazing.
and talk about meats?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, let's do it. Okay, I'm cool." Like if any other producer would have came to me with that, I would have questioned it. I would have balked at it. And even our one of our producers that we work with, her name's Adina. Adina's unbelievable. You know, she worked at Sesame Street for years. And so
Oh.
that's so her clear, fresh vision of what we're looking for is so refreshing to be able to work
Hmm.
with. And I trust her. I listen to what she has to say. I like her comments when I'm recording and doing that stuff. But at the same time, I'm really proud of the product. Like, I mean, it just sounds weird because I'm not. A lot of people are like, oh, you're just blowing smoke and you're kissing ass because they pay you. But imagine having a company that has. Hold on, I might sneeze. Sorry. You know, it's a four. They're in the process right now of building out another 125 or 150,000 square feet of their facility, but they have 300 employees, and they serve a really clean product, and they take care of their employees, and they all have health benefits, and they have a hospital on property that's available to them 24 hours a day, and they hand mix all their spices, and the owner Alan, you know, has built these unbelievable relationships with ranchers and cattlemen, and farmers, and it shows in the product, and I
Hmm.
don't feel like shit after I eat the product. And everybody's like, well, you're a chef, but they make pre-made product, because there are restaurants out there that don't have a smoker, they can't afford a smoker.
I know.
There's restaurants out there that can't, they don't know how to make carnitas. But guess what, here's a company that has a line called Carne Azteca, which has birria with broth added that is unbelievably delicious, and it's fucking clean. And it's 5 ingredients. And one of the ingredients is meat, and it's whole muscle, and it's not pieces, parts that are put together.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I'm really proud about that. I
Hmm.
still talk about the cleanliness of food that I want to put in my body, but one of my things for the industry is that not everybody has a chef driven restaurant.
Hmm.
Okay, 75% of the restaurants that are in our country are not chef driven restaurants. Okay, where you have a chef who is physically picking product, looking at the product, and making sure that what they're getting in, it's a restaurant owner who you know, has a small menu that might only be doing 5 or 8 or $10,000 a week in food sales, and they want to offer a better, they want to have a better offering for their people. So
Hmm.
my job, I feel, is not only to bring awareness to clean products and what's available to people, but it's to offer restaurant owners an opportunity to do some really cool stuff that you weren't able to do before because you have a kitchen manager, not a chef running your property. So if I can give you a sliced brisket that is going to be super clean and tasty, and you can make a great sandwich out of, and it's going to raise the offering to your clientele, then more power to you. Take a look at City Tavern in Fort Myers, Florida. This is a restaurant I've worked with for 13 years. They're using mainly Lauer Family Foods meats. Lauer supports them. Lauer reposts their stuff.
Yeah,
Lauer
it's so nice.
sends them product. They tag City Tavern in thanking them for buying their product. This is a company that has 300 products on their list, and they're taking the time out of their social media. This was not us doing their social. They took time out of their world to thank a small restaurant that does a couple $1,000s a week in food, but we're watching it grow every single week because they're using their product. And it's so it makes me proud to be able to say that I work with a company like that. You know, they're entrusting me to represent their company on a really high level. And it's really easy to do because I really, truly believe in the product. The same thing happened when I was when I worked with a plant based shrimp company. Everybody's like, the fuck are you talking about plant based shrimp? Like, what kind of weirdo is dealing with shrimp, plant-based shrimp? Well, guess what? It's a $60 billion industry.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
And 52% of people, 52, I don't know what the number is right now, are eating a cleaner, healthier diet. Okay. 10% of the world, whatever it is vegans, however that works out. We have a huge vegetarian population,
Hmm.
but more people are asking for plant based options. So if I can showcase a really cool product that I think is tasty and works well for the community, and guess what? You want to talk about something that's cool? It's seaweed, it's mung bean, and there was something else. I
Wow.
can't remember the other product. I haven't dealt with it in a long time. But even the seaweed that they harvested wasn't harvested from the ocean. It was the seaweed that ended up on the beaches. Like, it's a responsible quality
Yeah.
product. And just because you're a carnivore doesn't give you the right to make fun of me. And here's something I will never forget this. I was at NRA and I'm speaking at NRA, and this infuriated me. And the new president, who's not involved anymore, of the ACF, the American Culinary Federation, I'm going to call this person out. I do not remember her name, but she was one of the only women presidents that was involved. And she walked up to my demonstration while I was talking about it and said, "Oh, yeah, like that's a quality product." And I thought to myself, you're in the ACF. It's your
Oh my
job to
gosh.
teach the younger culinarians of this world that there is an opportunity for us to be
Yeah.
serving better product. And it's not just about our egos of what we're going to put on a plate.
Mhm.
We still have consumers that are paying our bills that are coming into the restaurant. So guess what? If I can keep a frozen bag of popcorn shrimp that's a high quality product that has no soy, that has no gluten, that isn't loaded with allergens and chemicals and things that make us feel like shit. And a vegetarian walks into the restaurant and says, "Do you have any vegetarian options?" And me saying, "You know what? I have a plant based shrimp back there. I'd love for you to try it." And all I have to do is pull it out of a freezer, drop it into a fryer, and now I have an option that I just made a vegetarian happy.
It's such a disservice to discredit other people's eating
Oh,
preferences. Like,
she's no
I
longer
will
there.
never understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like you're giving people an opportunity to try something different, and also you're creating more customers by being a
Yep.
restaurant potentially, or maybe a culinary student, whoever, whoever's in the demo. Which I'll be honest, I have so many opinions about certain things, but especially with our younger generation, you can't put negativity out to them because they
Yeah.
absorb it immediately.
So
They
fast.
absorb the jabs and the digs and things, and then you discredit maybe someone that is considering, like, how do I put out a vegan menu or a vegetarian
Right.
menu, things like that are affordable, because as we've just been talking about this entire time, eating healthy or eating vegetarian is expensive. So
Yeah.
what can I do as a
And it's next.
solution? Yeah, like, what a disservice to people. And then also, we'll be attending a conference in a couple of months, and we're doing a cooking. I'm not cooking, I'm just talking, which is all I'm good at. But
Yeah.
we're gonna do a chef's demo with 3 of our chefs. And the point of the demo, though, is just to reach the audience. Maybe not even really paying attention to what we're cooking and the
Yeah.
food that we're doing, but like selling the story. So to interrupt someone's storytelling time
Yeah.
is just so wrong and so messed
Totally.
up. Ugh, it drives PC people, like, know how to do stuff.
One of the things that I say is I, I never tell people to market vegan unless you're in a vegan restaurant.
Unless you right.
Unless you're in a vegan restaurant. I don't need to take up look, if I'm in a barbecue spot, and I did this in my barbecue spot. I did serve a plant-based product that was there because I had people that wanted to know if I had plant-based options. So I
Hmm.
did some funky stuff. I used jackfruit. I used, a mung-based soy or a mung-based shrimp product that was really cool, and I sold out of it. That's the thing, is the product sold. So
Right.
here's me in Havertown, Pennsylvania, Irish Catholic blue collar neighborhood, and I'm selling out of a plant based shrimp product in one weekend. Okay. I sold 20 pounds of product in one weekend out of this location. Like, to me, that speaks volumes. People want to try something different.
Right.
So, oh, the landscaper's here. He's about to make as much noise as possible.
Sorry, we're
Um,
wrapping up.
the we need to. So anyway, what am I doing? So I'm working with these really cool companies. I'm having a boatload of fun. I'm so proud of my partner Molly. We have a company called Molly B's Cookies. If
I
you see me
know
post
she's
about
gonna
them,
join me.
she's a what?
She's going to join me on the show.
No, she's the greatest human.
Castle joined me on the show a couple weeks ago.
Her energy is
I'm
the most
excited.
positive light that you'll ever hear from somebody. She's such a wonderful person, and I'm so proud of her. You know, I got involved in the company maybe 7 years ago. She asked me if I would come on board as an advisor, and I feel and I love watching her create. I love watching her do her thing. There's so much pride in the product that she puts out,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really cool to watch. It's a lot of fun to watch her do her thing. So I have that pride on my side as well, because I am a partner in the company. You know, I have another company that we sell spices and all that, and I'm really working tightly with these guys to change their marketing and how we're going to do stuff and how we're going to make it work and all that. And then my consulting, I want people to learn that you can serve a great quality product and still be profitable and have fun and creativity all at the same time. And then my travels are are what fuels my soul, meeting new people and engaging with people and realizing the good that are in people all over the country. And also at the same time, I've met a tremendous amount of hatred, more blatant, straightforward racism than I've ever seen. And, you know, and I'm a call out guy where I'm like, that's racist.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that. That's obnoxious, you know, and it's very, very on the forefront of a lot of people's minds with things. But we are all humans and we all have to do cool things. And I think that food is the common bond that we all have because we all have to eat. And no matter what it is that you're going to eat, my job is to make sure that we are educating people and we're serving a really cool, high quality product and having fun and being creative. So whether I'm doing a smoked duck cheesesteak or I'm doing a plant-based shrimp, I want to have as much goddamn fun as possible as I can with it. And so I have some really cool stuff going on, and I'll be Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. And follow me on Instagram at Chef Brian Duffy, and that's how I feel about that.
I was like, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you, Brian, for joining me. It's just like pure joy getting to talk or watch any of your content. I want to thank everyone for listening to today's episode. The second half of the season is going to be a lot of fun with new and familiar faces like Brian's and much more. So please stick with me in Hospitality Bites to learn more about me, my upcoming documentary, and how you can get involved. Please follow my friends Walk and Talk Media who distribute this amazing content. And as always, please be kind to yourself and take care of one another. Thanks, Brian.
Bye bye.